Howdy doody gamers. So, a while back, I played Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair, and I have opinions on the characters. So for the first game, after I beat it, I went through and did every character's little, support chain or whatever you want to call it, and it changed my opinions on some of the characters, and I learned more about them, and so I figured that I would, after I beat Danganronpa 2, I would go through and look at all of their supports and get the achievements and understand the characters more. The only problem with that plan is that would involve me liking the cast of Danganronpa 2. Unfortunately, I just didn't find this cast as cool or interesting as the first game, and I'm playing the third game now, and the third game's cast is a lot better. So unfortunately, I wasn't really motivated to finish the supports for every character in Danganronpa 2. So if I say I dislike this aspect about that character, and actually it's okay, because in Support 5, he's cool about it now. I just don't know that, I'm sorry. I couldn't do it! With that being said, I don't dislike Danganronpa 2, but it was a much weaker experience than the first game. I still enjoyed it overall, it's just, I like the first game's cast and story better. This one ended up going more ridiculous than I like in my stories. Which, if you like that, that's fine. This just wasn't as much for me. So, with all that being said, it's time to tier the characters. If you watched my first video for the first game, I did not have a D tier, and now I do. This is so C tier doesn't get overly crowded, which is not a good sign for what's to come. So first we have Hajime Hinata. He's an interesting guy. I don't actually know. That's a dramatic statement. Hajime's not very interesting. He's way cooler than Makoto because he's cool in any way, shape, or form. Whereas Makoto's a little bitch that I don't even like. Having his ultimate talent be unknown was kinda lame. I'm not a big fan of secret talents in this game. I guess it's because Hyoko's ultimate detective is just so obvious. And in this, I just didn't really feel like it was needed. So eventually you find out he's the ultimate everything. And I just hate that even more. Give him a useless talent again. Like in the first game, it's just so upsetting, honestly. I just didn't find that plot point very interesting, and I don't want to hold it against him, but I kinda have to. Especially if you watch Danganronpa 3, the anime, it's kind of really important. For now, I'm gonna put him in B tier, but low B tier. Depending on how things go, I might drop him. Fucking Nagito Kamida. I didn't know how I felt. I didn't know how I felt about this character for a long time. Because in the first chapter, he's pretty okay. And then he goes crazy. Which I love that for him. And then he's really demeaning of himself. So for most of the game, I was annoyed by Nagito. I just wasn't interested in him or wanted to be around him. However, his character really kicks off in Chapter 4, which is the best chapter in the game for the trial and the situation. I don't really care for the people who are involved in it, but the actual trial, the puzzle itself is so cool. I love that. That aside though, so when you take Nagito to go do that death challenge, or whatever it's called, he does a total 180 flip of his character, which is cool because he has all the secret information. He should act like this now, and that actively made me like him more as a character. I really didn't expect him to die. I figured he's so famous in the community, he would Nagito would never die. But he does die in Chapter 5, and at first I was upset, but that trial's also really, really strong. I like it a lot. The way that they utilize Nagito's luck is incredible. I wish they did anything with it in Danganronpa 1. They just say he's a lucky student and move on. But now we have a lucky student who's actually lucky! And it's so sick! There's so many times where you look at something and you're like, oh, psh, he'll get lucky. And he does. And it feels cool. It should feel like a cop-out, but it doesn't. Because his title is literally The Luckiest Student. So I think it's okay. All that being said, I do ultimately appreciate Nagito as a character. He's pretty interesting at the beginning and the end of his arcs. So I'll put him in B tier above Hajime. So next is the ultimate imposter, who looks like Byakuya Togami. And sounds like him. I'm a big fan of Byakuya, so I was pretty biased towards this guy, and confused because he looks a little bit different. Seeing him die in the first chapter really got me going, because I really like Byakuya Tagami. I think having the ultimate imposter die in the first chapter is a really good idea, because he's masquerading as somebody from the first game, and then he's dead. Like the first one, in the first chapter, and it feels bad. I do like the way he behaves, though. I think it's pretty cool. The way he tries to take charge and lead everybody, and he doesn't want anybody to die. The food thing really bugs me. Like, he's like, oh, you guys, the big guy really likes food. Isn't that funny? I don't like that. I don't. But overall, he's a pretty interesting character, and for purely biased reasons, he will go over Nagito. Dude, I hate Gundam. I hate Gundam so much. He's just so lame to me. I don't care that he's the ultimate breeder, like, that's funny, he looks like a ninja. He's a fucking ninja loser. I just don't like him. He's obnoxious, and I hate the way he talks, and I hate what he believes in. I hate how self-confident he is. He's just a terrible and uninteresting character to me personally. So every time he survived, I got pretty upset, because that meant I had to deal with him more. I will say, though, because he's the blackened of Chapter 4, that's like a little bit of a save, because he commits the best murder in the series so far. Like, between Game 1 and Game 2, well, Chapter 4 has the best trial in both games, but Chapter 4 and Danganronpa 2, oh my god, it's on another level. I love it so much. That being said, though, I fucking hate Gundam, F tier. Soda has one of the coolest designs in the cast. He looks cool. I like the ultimate mechanic thing. I like his beanie and his pink hair and his yellow jumper suit or whatever it's called. I expected more from him, so I was really upset with what I got in the game, because I expected him to be like confident and a cool engineer guy, and what I got was a simp. So he just tries to get Sonya to notice him, and then there's a thing in Chapter 2 where he tries to look at all the girls in bathing suits. Like, come on! Dude, don't be a pervert. But he's still kind of a cool guy, and he has his okay moments. He's just dragged down by his aggressive love for Sonya. C tier. I don't like Taru. He's weird, and he's really, really short for no reason. And then in the class trial, he, like, has that southern accent once he's figured out. And it just feels unnecessary. Like, seeing a character break down and lose an accent, or rather, retouch on it, can be cool. But, like, you can't do that too many times in one game. So, like, it was cool when Celeste did it. And it was okay when Taru did it. But then they keep doing it in this game. Like, Mikan does it. I think Pekko does it. Well, Pekko, she does, like, the superhero mask thing. That was really weird. And I hated that. Minus points for that, but that's later. Anyway, Taru is aggressively perverted and he makes me uncomfortable. Also, he looks stupid. F tier. Nekomaru's the strong boy for this game, and he's kind of a weirdo. He sure does like to talk about pooping all the time. Hee hee. And he has a good relationship with her. Her name escapes me. That's embarrassing. Ayane? I think it's Ayane. I'm gonna Google that real fast before I embarrass myself. I looked it up. It's Akane. So I do like Nekomaru and Akane's relationship with each other. I don't like either of them particularly, but I appreciate what they got going on, you know? Nekomaru getting turned into a robot was really fucking stupid, and I hate that plot point. They just could have not done that. And the way he died, like, it was a little influenced by him being a robot. Like, there's the clock function. Other than that, it's just, he's dead very quickly. Maybe I'm misremembering parts of the trial, but I'm pretty sure him being a robot did not impact the trial outside of his clock function, which you can just change it a little bit so it doesn't even matter. Oh, and his turn-off function, I guess. I still don't like it, though. I'm not sure if I want to put that against him. I don't think I will. Also, I get it. It was a simulation the whole time, so they didn't really make him a robot. So it's okay that they did. But, like, bro, come on. Really? Anyway. C tier, below Soda. Fuyuhiko's really cool, I think. In the first two chapters, I didn't care for him at all. Because he was just so standoffish and away from the group, and I'm like, oh, what a little bitch, I hate him. Once we get to punished Fuyuhiko, though, he shines, bro. Oh man, I do really like him at that point, because he's more, I like him more because he's, like, more sympathetic, and level-headed, and contributive, and he likes being a part of the group, and he's, basically in charge of the Yakuza group, which is badass as hell. I really like Fuyuhiko and his dress sense. I think he's cool. I just think that Fuyuhiko's really nifty. I like his style, and I like how he behaves once he's punished and all that, so I will actually put him in A tier, first character in A tier. He's just cool, and I like him a lot. Akane has no personality, and it kind of hurts. Her entire existence is food. Why does she just love food? It's so boring. Like, there's more to her, because, like, she feels bad when people die, or she has, like, opinions, but in most of the class trials, she just, like, goes around and says shit, and nothing happens, because she's usually wrong, except for, like, 1 or 2 times where you, like, consent with her, or whatever, in a trial. D tier, for the size of her boobies. I'll be real, when I started playing Danganronpa 2, I wanted to hate Chiaki so badly. I really did. I was just like, oh my god, the ultimate gamer. And they made her an uwu girl that falls asleep a lot, so she's relatable. I wanted to die on the spot. It's just too disgusting. Why would they do that? Strangely enough, though, over the course of the game, she's really helpful and actually interesting in the story, which is pretty cool, not gonna lie. I do actually like Chiaki in the context of the main story, although her supports make me like her a lot less. They're just like, ooh woo, she falls asleep on you and she thinks you're kind of cool. You should like that because she's a cool girl and you're a cool boy, right? Hate it here. Her being the traitor was unexpected. I spent most of the game thinking it was Sonya, because she acts like she's from this fictional country, which I guess is real in the universe. And she's just so strange. I'm like, she's not a real person. No way, no how. But she's just built like that. So Chiaki being the traitor, quote unquote, really surprised me. And I appreciated that. It was, her execution was hilarious, because she got gamered on, bro. She got Tetris'd. That's so relatable. Also in Danganronpa 3, the anime, I really like her role in that, a lot. The way that her arc of the show ends is really, it's really haunting, honestly. Made me feel bad, and like her more. She's just so easy to dunk on. So I will dunk on her a lot, but I do actually like her. She's A tier, right below Fuyuhiko. I don't like Sonya very much. Maybe I just don't get her. Like, I just don't understand her. She's just not my type of character. She's just, like, kind of like, haha, hoo, I'm a girl, oh, I'm so funny and quirky. I don't like Sonya very much. I don't know how to explain it, though. She's just weird, and I don't vibe with her. It's not that I think she was poorly made, but she never really contributes much for a character who's around from the entirety of the game. It's kind of weird. I don't really like her gimmick of, like, ultimate foreign princess or whatever. I don't have a lot to say because there's not a lot to speak about, even though she's there for the whole game. I really don't like this lolly. I don't know why they wanted to throw in a little girl who's actually a high schooler. I don't know if they're just trying to check the boxes for what people are into, or if that's just something they wanted to make. I don't like her, though. I do appreciate that Hiyoko is, like, the foulest-mouthed one in the group, and that she just mercilessly makes fun of everybody, because it's ironic or whatever. But I just don't vibe with her character design or what she does. My favorite part about Hiyoko is when she dies in Chapter 3. I thought that was pretty cool. Also, her personality is, like, absolute horseshit. Like, she just cries all the time because she can to get sympathy. And then if you support her, which I did look at some of them, she just cries and bemoans more. She's so unbearable and unlikable. I don't get it. Why did they make her like that? She's just... I like Mahiru's design, but she's, like, super sexist, and I don't vibe with that, so she's going in D tier. I don't like Makan very much, at all. She's just kind of there, and she's got, like, a soft voice and, like, ooh, don't make fun of me, no, I hate that. I don't like her personality, and then they, like, hard bake in that she trips into compromising positions. And then we get like a bunch of CG shots of like her in an upskirt, but we can't see the upskirt because Thing is in the way. It's really irritating. I don't like that. That's like a part of her character that we just see, and that it's evidence in Chapter 1 that she was in a compromising position. I do like her as a Blackened, though. It was annoying to get there because the Chapter 3 trial's just a lot. It's really long. So I do like her once she's like the murderer and we get to deal with that. That's kind of okay, but she's still pretty uninteresting, so I'll put her at the bottom of C tier. So next is Ibuki, and boy howdy is Ibuki funny. Like, she is genuinely funny, she's just so off the walls and obnoxious, and I'm not like a huge fan of that. I did like seeing her because her design is super good, and sometimes she says something where I'm like, oh, that's cool, or that's funny, or whatever. But I'm just not like a big fan of her overall. Like, she was okay, but not much to say, honestly. She's just kind of a funny girl. I'll put her in C tier. There you go. So last is Pekko Pekkoyama. Great name, love to see it. I really like her backstory because they tied her in with Fuyuhiko, and they don't even act like it until you have to know, which I like a lot personally. And seeing that relationship in the Danganronpa 3 anime was also kind of cool, even though they don't go too in depth about it. Pekko's cool, I like her energy, her design is great, ultimate swordswoman, love to see it, queen shit. I almost really didn't like her because I thought she was like a masked serial murderer or whatever, but she was just like, yeah, I'm just playing. And she also really likes Fuyuhiko, and I do too, so that's pretty relatable. I like the murder she commits. I don't like the Chapter 2 class trial at all, it's probably the worst in the series. But once we actually get to who did the murdering, in real time, once we get to who was actually murdered and how they were murdered, that's pretty good. And I do like Pekko and how she goes out. It's very badass, and I love that for her. So I will put her in B tier over Hajime. Yeah, that makes sense. So that's everybody. Sorry to disappoint, but nobody in this game is good enough for S tier, and they know that. Fuyuhiko's pretty great, but no, he's not S tier material. He doesn't come close to the characters in S tier for the first game. And I am glad that I added a D tier, because putting like 8 people in C tier would have just looked weird. Even though I think I put like 5 or 6 in Danganronpa 1 down there. I know that there are a few characters who appear from the first game in this. I've decided not to rank them like that. However, I do plan on doing a character series ranking, where I do all the games except for Ultimate Despair Girls. And there I'll rank them based on like what they did in other games. So like what Junko did in the second game and how that affects her ranking, you know? The only exclusive character who's not here is Monami. And I don't like Monami. I would probably put her in D tier, above or below Sonya, I think. So with that being said, if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. If I'm right, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you had a good time. Peace out.